Hi everybody, Deb Tucker here from Studio 180 Design, and we're going to talk to you today in this video about making Liberty Lemoynes. Liberty Lemoynes is the name of a block, a Liberty Star block, that you're going to be able to make with your Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star tool. Now let's take a look at one of the blocks. One of the blocks, the reason it looks like a Lemoyne Star is that it is pieced with diamonds to make your star points. But what makes it a Liberty Lemoyne is that each of the diamonds has 3 strips, 3 different colors of fabric in it. This is a block that you should not be attempting to make unless you are very familiar with the Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star system. This has a 5-star rating on our technique sheet that indicates you should be well grounded with the Lemoyne Star method before you attempt this. It's a bit challenging, and one of the reasons that it is challenging is that in order to get the diamonds divided into 3 equal sections, some of those strips that you cut are very unusual measurements. For example, for the 10-inch block here, the red and the yellow strip that are cut to be able to piece this are 1 3/16 of an inch. Now I know that just puts a fear of everything into making this block, but that 1 3/16 on the chart on the technique sheet is also listed as 1 1/4 minus, because 1 3/16 is just a little bit less than 1 1/4 inches. So if the 3/16 throws you for a loop, just look at that 1 1/4, and when you are cutting your strips, back down for a little bit from that 1 1/4, and you'll be at that 1 3/16 inch mark. Now realize not all the strips, not all the pieces have those weird measurements, but some of the blocks do. The Liberty Lemoyne, what makes it very unique is that not only are the diamonds pieced, but the diamonds are positioned so that they spiral around the edge. We have another video out that we talk about making strip piece Lemoynes, but the strip piecing continues and follows all the regular methods that we do with the Lemoyne Star, and it results, if you take a look at the block that's here, you'll see that this block, the diamond also has 3 strips, but by strip piecing every part of the block, following the regular method, your blocks look very different, one to the next. This one has strong north and south, east and west direction. This one has a spiral direction. This is the one we're going to talk about today, the Liberty Lemoyne. So let's get started. In order to begin, what you should realize is we're going to, instead of making our A sections and our B sections with just 1 strip of fabric, we are going to actually make our A sections, and our B sections with multiple strips of fabric. This is kind of where we're headed. The B section is actually going to be constructed just like we do the traditional Lemoyne Star. The A sections are going to be done with a fussy cutting technique. So to start, you'll take those strips, you'll cut the strips the size that are listed on the technique sheet, piece your strips together. You'll notice when you see the sizes that 2 of the strips are cut the same width. 1 of the strips is cut a little bit wider. That wider strip is the strip that will end up being in the middle. It's the color that's in the middle. So you'll cut the 2 strips, the outer and the inner, and the middle strip will be a little bit wider. Once you sew them together, you will press all those seams. Doesn't matter whether you make an A or B sections, all seams on this are pressed toward that larger strip. Now once you've pressed those strips, you're ready to go to the next step. You're going to have and need a strip piece section for your B, and you're going to need a strip piece section for your A. Your B section, you're actually going to sew the 3 colors to your background strip. But your A section, don't do that. We're going to put that off to the side and talk about how we're going to work with that section. For the B section, after the sewing is done, after the pressing is done, you're going to be able to cut them apart using the same methods that you do for the Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star process. You'll position your B strip on your cutting mat right side up, just like it would be for the traditional method. You're going to use the 2 tools to establish and cut your first cuts and your second cuts. Again, remember, you should be familiar with that. Your first cut is the cut that we make at a 45-degree angle. The size of the cut that you'll make from that strip will be listed on the chart as well. For the 10-inch size, it's actually a 2 3/4 inch slice. I'll slice, that's my first cut. Each of those first cuts then will receive the second cut. The second cut, when you do the second cut, instead of going right to the tip of the diamond, because this is your B piece, you're going to want to put about a 1/4 inch space in there. And then cut so that you'll have part of your B section, and this will be the side piece that's going to flip over there when we construct. Again, this is all very familiar if you have done and made your Rapid Fire Lemoyne Stars with the traditional method. Now, for the A section, remember, we didn't sew that background piece to the strip. What we did, or what I did, excuse me, is this is the strip that will become the diamond. The background strip, I took and chopped it into squares. In this case, the squares are 4 1/4 inches. Each of the background squares is going to get cut in half to create the background triangles that I need to make my A and B section. When I cut these in half, I'm going to do it diagonally, but I'm not going to do it exactly from corner to corner. I'm going to put the 1/4 inch mark on my ruler on the point and on the point. And when I cut these in half, my squares, I'm actually going to have bigger triangles, larger triangles, and smaller triangles to put together into my unit. Now, for right now, I'm just going to put those off to the side. Let's come back to our strip. Our strip, we are going to cut this individually into an individual diamond. Again, to be able to do that, I'm going to use my ruler, line up, well, one of the guidelines, one of the seam line on the ruler, or the edge of the ruler, with one of the seams, but a traditional ruler up against it, make my cut. Just like that, I've got my 45-degree angle cut, and proceed to cut these at that same size that I cut the other pieces. I cut those at 2 3/4 inches. It's listed on the chart, and what I'm going to have is a fussy cut diamond, and I'm now ready to begin to put everything together. So I would need 4 of these from this strip, and I would need 4 pieces from my other B section, and we'll take these and I'll lay them out, and you'll begin to see what's going to happen. It's always advisable to take your pieces once you've cut them and carefully position them on your mat. Now I'll just put another one there so you can see. Those will be my A sections. These were the B sections that I cut. There's 1, there's 2. So I usually put them in a stack. And with the B section, all I had was that smaller side section. And you can see right away where we're headed with this. The B section is simple to sew. All you'll do is take that side triangle, center it basically on top, line up the raw edges, stitch it, and give it a press the way that you're instructed to on the technique sheet. For the A section, I generally sew the large triangle to the diamond first, give it a press. Once that's pressed, add the additional side triangle, and you're back in familiar territory now. This is what we do when we do our Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star. When we have those pieces, you know, this is one of the benefits of that rapid fire method. Those pieces, those A sections and those B sections are all slightly bigger than they need to be. And that's going to allow me to trim them to very, very high precision before I go to build my block. That's where the Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star ruler comes into play. This is a 10-inch block, so what I'm going to do is locate the 10-inch lines, guidelines on the ruler. Those 10-inch guidelines will line up on the seam that lies between the diamond section and the background section. And once I've got them lined up, hold my ruler nice and firm, trim and trim. Now the trim may or may not be even on all sides. You can see it's a little bit wider on here than here. That's okay. What's happening is the diamond shape that you're left with is perfectly sized to create your Liberty Lemoyne block. So I'll trim not only the B sections, but I'll trim the A sections as well, lining up that 10-inch guideline with the seam lines. Take this and trim one side and trim the other. And now again, I have a perfectly pieced section that when I sew them together, all my seams are going to nest. I'll put them together first into squares, and then the squares together into half blocks, and eventually end up building my Liberty Lemoyne. And you can see what happens is those diamonds, those stripes, are spiraling around the center. One of the other nice things about the Lemoyne Star process that you work with this tool is that the block is bigger than it needs to be. This one's already been trimmed, but I always have enough extra fabric around the outside edges that I can line up my Tucker trimmer and my common diagonal and my 10.5-inch diagonal and trim the block so it's perfectly sized, perfectly square. Every point is 1/4 inch from the end. So if you're thinking you might like to try the Liberty Lemoyne, pick up our technique sheet. The technique sheet will give you a chart that allows you to make these in lots of different sizes, from 6-inch size all the way up through and including the 12-inch size. I didn't go any further. Now, the Lemoyne Star tool goes all the way down to 3 inches. I didn't feel comfortable going much smaller than that 6-inch size because, well, it would be nothing more than seam allowances on the back. If you're game, you go and have at it. But this is the chart will to go from the 6-inch size up to the 12-inch size. To pick up these technique sheets and to pick up your Rapid Fire Lemoyne Star tool, you can visit your local quilt shop. Can't find it there? Please come to our website. You can get it right from our web store. While you're there, take a look at our videos that deal with some of the other things you can do with the Lemoyne Star. Sign up for our newsletter and visit our Friends Gallery. And if you ever make a quilt that you might like to post on our Friends Gallery, please send it along. We'd love to have it there. Thanks.